to you in a black way, authentically black. I am not a finance professor who happens to be black. I'm a black man who happens to be a finance professor. Today, I want to talk about Ebony Magazine. Ebony Magazine just got bought. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you were aware that Ebony Magazine just got purchased. And Ebony was just purchased by a former NBA player by the name of Junior Bridgman. Now, this purchase is of interest to me because, one, I live in Chicago, and two, I am from Louisville. And that is where Junior Bridgman played his college days. I grew up as a kid hearing about Junior Bridgman from my mama, who said, because we were all Louisville Cardinals fans. We love the Louisville Cardinals so much that actually behind my head, if you've ever been paying attention, you'll notice I've got some Louisville stuff on my wall back here. So I'm a big Louisville guy, even long before it was popular to know about Louisville with Breonna Taylor and all that. But here's some of my Louisville apparel. My late grandmother, rest her soul, the first person who ever taught me about economics, loved the Louisville Cardinals so much that this was my inheritance. This was my inheritance. Grandma, you gave me economic intelligence, and you left me some Louisville Cardinals gear, so we good. I didn't want her money because I had money by that time, so I wasn't worried about that. But my grandma left me a lot of her Louisville gear. She had a whole room that was red. This is how much our family was into the Louisville Cardinals. Now, let's talk about Junior Bridgman for a minute. Junior Bridgman popped up in the news because he's going to be the buyer of Ebony Magazine. And when I was a kid, my mother used to talk about Junior and would say, when we would watch Louisville games and stuff, she would say, "You want to be smart, just like Junior Bridgman." And I didn't know what that meant at that time. I don't even think I knew who he was because I was little. But I've heard of the guy through the years. And Junior Bridgman is a guy that a lot of people in Kentucky are very proud of, around the country, actually. He's had a long storied career, not just in as far as what he did in college and all that, but he also played for the Lakers and the Milwaukee Bucks, I believe. So I imagine it's kind of interesting. He was his brother went to play at UCLA at the same time. I think it was either right around that time or after Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played for UCLA, and then he went to the Lakers. And I know Jabbar played for the Lakers, and then he played for the Bucks, and I know Jabbar played for the Bucks. So I'd be curious to know how connected his career was to Kareem. I don't know enough about the entirety of their career, but I do know a few things. So anyway, Junior Bridgman is buying Ebony. And I thought that was interesting because obviously, I know about his sports career. I also know that people have a lot of respect for him as a businessman. I've never done business with him. I've never talked to him. But I like him. I like what he does. I think he's good for the world. And I thought about this, and you guys know I talked about Ebony a lot. I read it. I read on the story, and I thought about it. I meditated on it. I sent a prayer request to white Jesus, black Jesus, and baby Jesus to give me the wisdom to kind of break this down in a way that allows all of us to kind of learn something from this, because I think that there's a lot to learn about about life and economics from the way Ebony Magazine went down. Let me just say this. Ebony Magazine did not have to go down. Ebony Magazine was bought out of bankruptcy. Bridgman bid on their assets, which I think the winning bid was $14 million. And he was bidding on a dead company that didn't have to die. You go to a funeral and you got some 19-year-old kid and you're like, man, he had his whole life ahead of him, but he didn't think he's going to make it to the age of 22. So he started getting in the street and thugging out. And next thing you know, he's gone. Well, you're like, man, it was too soon. Pookie didn't have to die. He could have lived a long, prosperous life, but he didn't. Well, Ebony Magazine to me was a little bit like Pookie, where Ebony Magazine did not have to die. Ebony Magazine could have survived. Ebony Magazine could have flourished. Ebony Magazine could have went on and done well. Essence Magazine, from what I understand, seems to be doing pretty well. They seem to be leveraging their brand value and making millions of dollars and all this other good stuff. And I felt like Ebony actually was a brand that had even more brand strength than Essence. Ebony Magazine, if you go back to Junior Bridgman's era, Ebony Magazine, that was the stuff, man. I mean, that was the premier creme de la creme, like top shelf, most respected institution, one of the most respected institutions in the Black community. So the question becomes, why did Ebony Magazine die too soon? What happened here? Actually, before I move on with that, do me a favor real quick. I want to remind, this is our Black media request. We're building Black media. So if you could, please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button right now, and type a yes in the chat, or put your hashtag B1 in the chat after you do all those things. So right now, on the count of three, everybody hit the thumbs up button, share the video if you can, or at least subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when we go live. We're building Black media. Black media is extremely important. That's why it's important to talk about things like Ebony, because we need our own media. And I see you guys on Instagram. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. So feel free to follow me on the gram. All right. So, okay, good. So hashtag B1 in the chat once you're done. Thank you very much for doing that. I appreciate it. Now let's get back to the regular scheduled program. So Ebony Magazine, if I were to say, or share my prayer request that I sent to White Jesus, Black Jesus, and Baby Jesus about Ebony Magazine, or a prayer request I would then forward on to Junior Bridgman's children who are going to be running the company, I would simply say, don't be a dinosaur. Don't be a dinosaur. Don't do what they did. That's how I learned growing up. My mama would be like, don't do what he did, because then you'll be hooked on heroin, or my dad would be like, don't do what he did, or you'll be homeless when you're 40 years old, or don't do what he did, or you end up in jail. Well, with Ebony Magazine, I say the same thing. Like, don't do what they did. Don't do what they did. Ebony Magazine was a great company that had tremendous potential. And Ebony Magazine, from what I saw, again, I was in Chicago. I've written articles for Ebony. I know people at Ebony, high-ranking people at Ebony that would come and make secret phone calls to me because they didn't want their bosses to know that they were talking to me about different things. And I felt that Ebony was just a dinosaur. I felt that Ebony wasn't responding to good ideas. Ebony didn't understand that there was this thing that came along that you might have heard of called the internet. The internet came along. I know you may not have heard of it, but it's been around for a little while. And that required all publishing companies to adjust their business models. If you did not adjust, you were going to die. You were going to be like Pookie laying on the sidewalk with your mama crying over your dead body. Well, Ebony Magazine was it broke a lot of people's hearts because a lot of people grew up with Ebony. Give me a yes or no if you remember going to grandma's house on Saturday afternoon and you hear some Lou Rawls in the background and you got Ebony Magazine on the coffee table. Anybody remember those days where Ebony Magazine was right there on the coffee table and a bunch of the issues would be there? Or you go to the barbershop and you're bored, there's nothing to read, so you're reading Ebony and you're reading like these cigarette ads and whatever, right? And all the fellas, I'm sure y'all remember the Jet Beauty of the Week. Anybody remember the Jet Beauty? The young guys don't know nothing about this, right? But the Jet Beauty of the Week was my first introduction to the beauty of the Black woman. I really wonder if I had never seen the Jet Beauty of the Week at the age of 5, I like that solidified my connection to Black women. Like at that moment, at 5 years old, my parents, they thought I was thinking about like toys and dolls and bicycles. Man, I saw that lady's curves. I said, Lord have mercy, Jesus Christ. I don't know what this is, but it's special. And I had this Jet Beauty of the Week. And my dad's talking to me about cartoons or something. You don't know, like, Boyce is way beyond cartoons now. Like, you've opened the Pandora's box, and I've loved Black women's curves ever since. And so, anyway, maybe that wasn't healthy. Maybe that was actually a bad experience. Maybe I don't know, but I don't care. It was wonderful. So Ebony and Jet, and so I mean, they had a special place in our heart, and I think the community was ready to support Ebony through all of its nonsense. The community was like, okay, create something amazing, and we'll back you up. Ebony's been sort of more than a publication. I think people were sad when Ebony got sold. They were sad to see Ebony crumble. And so I would just say my biggest advice to anybody that's affiliated with that brand is don't be a dinosaur. Allow fresh ideas in. Ebony Magazine, in my view, became almost like an aristocracy where you have the Johnson family and they're protective of their power and they're used to making money very easily. They're used to big white companies paying them insane amounts of money to advertise in their magazine. Well, the digital age shifted that. The digital age became the age of the hustler, and they were being out hustled by more innovative outlets that were purely digital that didn't require massive amounts of capital investment in order for them to function. And so as a result, it was very predictable. Ebony went crumbling down. Now, with Junior Bridgman buying Ebony, Junior's a good businessman. He's I think he owns over 100 Wendy's restaurants or something. And then he became a bottler for Coca-Cola. And I think with this entity, he's letting his children run that. He's about 67. So I'd be curious to know how involved he's trying to be with all of this. He did mention that Ebony represented Black excellence to him growing up. And I agree. I mean, I think for people in his generation, especially, Ebony was the gold standard as far as media. And I still love Ebony. I still think Ebony has potential. I think Ebony, if they bring in the right ideas, can be explosive and extraordinary. I look forward to seeing what they do with the company, and I hope that they can be great again. Like literally, let me see. Like instead of having MAGA, we need to have MEGA. MEGA, make Ebony great again, right? So everybody should get a mega hat, right? We're gonna make Ebony mega, make Ebony great again. That's gonna be our slogan because I fully support what they're doing, and I really think that if they bring in some good ideas, they can succeed. Just on a personal note with Ebony, actually, before I move on, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you sign up for the Black Financial Channel. Also, speaking of kids, I love the fact that Junior Bridgman is bringing his kids into the business. I think that's awesome. I think that's something everybody should look into. But the thing is, your kids have to be ready. Like if you have stupid kids or kids that are sloppy and irresponsible, then you're going to lose all your wealth. In fact, 70% of all wealthy families, did you know this? Give me a yes or no if you knew this. 70% of all wealthy families lose all their wealth within one generation. Did you know that? 70%. 90% lose their wealth within 2 generations. So when you're building this institution called your family, like the Bridgman family is an institution. They're probably worth $500 million now, whatever. When you're handing stewardship of that institution over to your children, you can't just do it because they're related to you. I don't know. I think what was that story? I don't follow the show, but that story about the guy from Sweetie Pies or whatever, and the poor lady with Sweetie Pies handed her business over to her son or nephew or something, and he's out here doing some old crazy gangster stuff. And next thing you know, the whole empire comes crumbling down. Well, you got to prepare your kids for that early. One thing wealthy people do is they get their kids ready early to take over the family empire or to take the empire to the next level. So a lot of you are planting seeds now and preparing for the future. Well, after you plant those seeds, the biggest seed you plant is going to be in your children in terms of making sure that mentally they are prepared with knowledge, investment, and discipline. That's actually the KID model that we use in our Black Business School for Children, which basically says give them the knowledge on how to maximize wealth. Give them the investment so they have capital that they can actually utilize to achieve their goals. And then discipline means not going out here getting caught up in every stupid little thing that's going to throw them off the track. There's a guy I met one time who was mentoring this young dude. And this young dude, it's so bad. It drives me crazy. This shows like what media is doing to us in terms of giving us horrible culture. This kid, his father owned like 20 different franchises in the city. He owned all these restaurant franchises. He owned a couple in the airport and everything else. And so his father's making like $50 to $100 million a year. His father was a hardworking man, but he was getting old and he's getting tired. He wanted to pass all this down to his son, right? Check this out. His son wanted to be a rapper. His son was like, I don't want to run a restaurant. I want to be a rapper. Right. So this kid literally is running around trying to hang in the hood and roll with the thugs and get his gangster credentials, maybe do some jail time so he gets some real street cred. And his father's like, I've got a business that's generating $50 million a year in cash flow. And you want to go rap? Like rappers ain't even got no money. 90% of them are broke. Are you kidding me? Now, speaking of rappers, one unbroke rapper that's actually coming to the platform today, Ice Cube will be on tonight. I think it's 9 Eastern, I believe. He'll be on drboystv.com. So me and Cube have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about politics, but we're also going to talk about economics. I told him, I said, I really want people to understand the mindset of a boss. I want people to understand the mindset of a guy that knows how to own things, a guy who made tremendous moves and transitions through his career, that was able to actually start a sports league. Remember, in a world where you got multimillionaire athletes who swear that they don't have enough capital to start a sports league, but Ice Cube did it. The big three is real. The big three is out there. And so there's a mindset associated with that. And I said, if we can dig into that a little bit, I will really appreciate that. So he's coming through tonight on drboystv.com at 9 p.m. Eastern. But if you can't catch it live, you can. I'll replay it. I'll send, you'll see the recording. It'll be up there. So don't feel like you have to be there then. But if you want to catch it live, it's 9 p.m. Eastern tonight on drboystv.com. So the point of the matter is that he's doing a good job with his kids. I love it. I love the idea of buying this massive, beautiful asset like Ebony and saying, here, this is my gift to you. Just run it right. Don't mess it up. And I assume his kids understand that message. And I think that that's really awesome. So if you want to see a model of legacy, a model of wealth building and what that looks like, I think Junior Bridgman is a guy you can pay attention to. Sure, being an NBA player will open some doors for you, but not every NBA player walks through those doors, right? Shaquille O'Neal walked through those doors. That's why he owns a lot of franchises now. Franchising actually is a great way to make money, from a blueprint without having to come up with a business model and figure out what kind of business you want to go into. Franchising actually has been a pathway to wealth for a lot of people. So actually in the Black Business School, we actually put together a whole curriculum on franchising. It's the fourth program in our Black Money sequence. We have 6 classes in our Black Money sequence. Franchising is number 4, Black Money 104. That's what it's called. So if you go to the URL is theblackfranchiseprogram.com, theblackfranchiseprogram.com. So feel free to go take a look. And also, if you want to teach your kids about wealth, you can go to financialworkbooks.com. We have workbooks and flashcards that are great for kids of almost any age. It's a great gift for Christmas. So feel free to go to financialworkbooks.com. I don't know if the order will get there by Christmas, though, because we're kind of close to the day. But either way, though, if you learn how to make money, then every day can be Christmas. So I encourage you to teach your kids about how to make money. So my final thought on Ebony and Junior Bridgman is I'm really happy for him. Do I know if $14 million is a good or bad price to pay for Ebony and the right to their assets? I can't gauge that. My first instinct is yes. Like my first instinct is that if you're looking in terms of like return on capital and all that, I think Ebony instantly becomes a multi-million-dollar brand if they have the right investment, if they have the right amount of working capital and can really work their asset the way they should. But it's going to be a work in progress. I think they're going to have some young, innovative people in there that are going to bring them great ideas that are going to allow them to catapult Ebony in a productive way. I think if they run Ebony like they did before, it's going to become a dinosaur. Ebony's going to die. And that was something I said repeatedly back when Ebony was still alive. I said, if they don't adjust, they're going to die. And I'll be damned if they did not die. And Ebony became kind of the laughing stock of the community. And I think that's kind of sad because Ebony didn't have to be that way. Pookie did not have to die. So anyway, that's it. Those are my 2 cents. Congratulations to the Bridgman family. I don't know them, but I'm sure I know people that know them because, again, we from the Ville. I'm from Louisville. So all the Black people in Louisville kind of know somebody who knows somebody. So if you are one of those people that knows him and knows his family, tell him I say congratulations, good luck. I wish them the best, and I'll be watching. And I am a supporter. I believe in Ebony. I believe Ebony will be great one day. And again, put your mega hat on. Make Ebony great again. That's what we're going to do. So I'm out of here, guys. Do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button. Also, later on today, I'll come back with more analysis on what's going on in the stock markets. We have some big news going on with Donald Trump basically coming in at the last minute and saying he wasn't going to support the stimulus package unless they increase the payments. Now, I agree with that, though. I think that $600 is nothing. It's almost like a joke. But I think it is kind of it throws a monkey wrench in the system. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And also, last but not least, there's a free lecture if you want to go take a look at it. It's at blackfinancialsecurity.com, where I actually break down what financial security looks like. So if you're ever curious, if you're confused about economics or finance or whatever, just know my PhDs in this stuff. I can help you. The lecture's free, blackfinancialsecurity.com. So hit the thumbs up button. Feel free to go to the website. I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day. I'll see you soon. Take care.